We're here at Lionstrong Athletics in San Diego. This is my gym. Gonna be a good workout. I think the plan today is strength, hamstring and glutes. So posterior strength, we're gonna go deadlifts, and then hypertrophy for quads, maybe little calves at the end. Why don't you come in? Let's have some fun. Okay, like I said, we're splitting up legs a little bit because we're gonna go strength focus on one half and then more of a hypertrophy connectivity focus on the other half. So strength is gonna be deadlifts. I've been rolling on this modified deadlift where I don't touch at the bottom and I'm keeping that tension on my hamstrings and glutes. So we're gonna do that again today. You can't lift quite as heavy, but it's still fun. I'll teach you guys how to do that if you wanna try it out yourselves. I feel way more glutes that way. And honestly, I feel way more hamstrings trying to push myself up on it too. So it's a fun exercise. And we'll go through it. And then we're gonna hit some quads afterwards, hypertrophy style, or extensions, squats, maybe a lunge or step up. We're gonna feel it out a little bit. I like to keep a bit of variation in my workout, so we'll see how it goes. So let's get that deadlift started. Strength time. Okay, let's get into this deadlift. Like I said, it's a bit of a modified deadlift, so I'm gonna go over it real fast and how you can do it yourself technique-wise. So if we think about this deadlift or a Romanian deadlift, we might push our butt back like this. I'm getting a good stretch through my hamstrings. And then we're getting to a full deadlift. I just bring my knees down, kind of like a quarter squat, and that's my general deadlift position for this. Now the difference is, at the bottom, I don't want the weights to touch the ground so that my hamstrings and my glutes have to keep working the entire time. I don't get to rest them. So that's the general purpose. And I really want to try and load up through my heels so that that weight sits in my glutes, sits in my hamstrings at the bottom, just like this. So this is my bottom position. I'm just hovering off the ground. Right now, my glutes are firing like crazy and my hamstrings are on, and then I'm just gonna drive up off of that. Okay, so I'll set this up at 135. This is kind of a mid warm-up set for me, so I'll just crank out 10, warm up my legs. Great warm-up set. You can see I'm not touching at the bottom, and I'm really forcing those glutes to hold me up and hold up that weight. Firing through. I find when I let the weight go at the bottom, if I'm doing a full reset, or I'm driving up and then resetting back down, I just don't get that same activation through here. So I haven't been doing that as much. Of course, if you're a power lifter, going for strength in that movement specifically, that is what you want to do, obviously, right? That's the sport. So we're gonna bump it up a little bit. And from here on out, I'm only gonna do 5 reps. Let me double check what I did last time. Where's my phone? I keep a list of all my exercises in my phone, in my notes folder, super organized. But that way I know what I did last time and I can make adjustments and I can try to beat it. So last time I got up to 275 for 5. Just as a comparison, on my full deadlifts, where I'm not doing that pause at the bottom, where I'm doing the full drop, I got 405 for 3 last time. So it is significantly less weight this way. But like I said, I do feel more of my muscles working, so we're gonna keep it going. Maybe we can hit 285 or 295 today. We'll see. So 275 for 5 was our one last time. This is only 185. I'm just gonna do a set to 5. Should be kind of a second warm up. All right, easy peasy. Well, it's not too heavy. We're gonna jump from 185 to 225. I generally like to start or make my warm-ups go from a 45 to a 25 to a 45 to a 25. And I don't really care how many sets I do, if I'm honest. I'm just working my way up, and because I'm only doing 5 reps to get there, I don't feel like I'm really exhausting myself too much. So if I end up doing 5 or 6 sets, then I end up doing 5 or 6 sets. As far as rest time goes in between, I'm just taking my time. Wait until I feel like I'm fully ready. You don't need to rush it. Also, I just don't like waiting 10 or 12 minutes in between sets. So I just gather my breath, make sure my muscles feel good. I feel like the muscles that I'm working, so hamstring and glutes, are just fully recovered. I don't want to, which especially for warm-up sets, should be pretty easy. Shouldn't take too long. So this will be 225. I do typically on deadlifts start to wear a belt, maybe past 225. And that's just so I can keep my core a little bit tighter and focus on the muscles I want to work. But I don't usually start with it just so I can activate my core for this lower weight. So yeah, this is 225. Maybe another 30 seconds and then I'll give it a shot. Again, just doing 5. Last time was 275 for 5. If I can get 275 for 6, that's awesome. Or 7. Or I go up to 280, 285, and maybe try and get 3 or 4 and progress that way. So we'll make that decision depending on how it feels today and how we go. This is 225. We'll just get easy 5. Yep, all day. I gotta dig through my whole bin. Oh. There we go. Just try and get a good rest. Yeah, I think last time I had 275. I think that was pretty much my max. I don't even know if I could go for a 6th, if I remember correctly. So if I get to 275 for 5 and I feel like I can do more reps, I'm probably gonna stop and then just go up in weight. If I feel like I'm right there, I'm gonna try and go for the 6th one. So it is kind of a in the moment decision, depending on how difficult this set is, how heavy that weight feels today. But either way, I gotta beat it. Here we go. Okay, so I made that decision on the last rep there. I probably could have gone for 2 or 3 more. I felt pretty confident in that. Therefore, put the weight down. We're going up in weight. We're gonna go 295. As we get closer to 315, which I think was my original goal on this exercise. And once we get there, we just make a better goal. On that hold, just feels so much through my glutes trying to hold me up in that position where normally I would just let it go and lose all that activation. So I really like it. I'm trying to equate that idea to a bench press where I'm bringing it down and resting it on my chest versus a bench press where I'm keeping that tension and then driving out of it. Okay. 295. Ready? Let's do this. Far exceeded my expectations compared to last time. I think that a lot of that is just getting used to the movement and getting used to that pause. One thing that I did at the end as well, I hope you caught, on that last rep, I finished it up and then I went down slowly and I still completed the end of that rep before dropping it down. I didn't just drop the weights and slam the weights down. You'd be missing a whole half a rep, and especially when you're that exhausted and that tired, that half a rep those muscles are just under so much mechanical tension at the bottom. You shouldn't miss that if you can. That was great, felt really good. 295 for 7. So if my goal was 5, I can probably hit the 305, maybe even the 315. Should I go for it? Let's go for it. We're gonna do one more. So 315 is 3 plates. Again, my full deadlift was around 4, it was the 405. So dropping down to a 315, 3 plates for this pause deadlift is actually pretty good. I feel good about that transfer. All right, so this is the 315. Belt up, straps up. I would love to get 5, but honestly, it's kind of a play it by ear thing. You don't want to risk your form trying to get reps necessarily. So I'm making a big jump anyways. If I can get 2 out of it, if I can get 3 or 4, that's great. You know, 4 or 5 is ideal world, but I'm not super stressed about it. Even if I get 3, then the next time I try to get 4, then the next time I try to get 5, that kind of progression. All right, let's get it. Whew. Got the 5. I'm pretty happy about that actually. 315 for 5. Felt good. It's a new PR. And let's move on. The basic idea in a leg extension is as I'm coming up, I want the entirety of my quads working as a unit. My vastus medialis, lateralis, rectus femoris, they're all working together. And ideally, they're all failing together at the same time. And if you can get that in your leg extensions where they're all failing together, then that's perfect, all right? You're gonna get equal growth and you can crank out this machine. I do not get that at all. With my legs, I am most often failing up at the top of my quads and my rectus femoris, maybe my vastus lateralis is the one that's failing. I'm definitely not failing on my vastus medialis, that VMO. So traditionally I have a very small VMO because of this, and I didn't realize that I have to tackle it just a different way. And this is something you can try out and see if it works for you. But the VMO works the most on the top part of the lift, right in here. Especially if I splay that out just a little bit with my feet, I can really feel that contraction through my VMO. And so that's really just what I want to target. And I know it's a little against tradition for this exercise, but what I like to do is kind of bring it down halfway. I'm still getting a little bit of a stretch through here, but I'm certainly not activating my upper quads. And I'm driving back up to the top. So it's a very limited range of motion, but I really feel that VMO. I don't feel my rec fem very much. So I use this as a way to make my VMO fail on this for at least a set or 2 sets. That way I get that development by that knee that I've been awful at, that I've been missing with the full range of motion. So I'm gonna do a set like that, just trying to target my VMO. And then I'm gonna do another set doing the bottom half, which looks like this. That'd be my top position. Feels like very little VMO contraction here, but a ton of rec fem, vastus lateralis. So I'll be just going kind of bottom half. So think of it just like do a set to fail your top half, do a set to fail your bottom half. And you could always do a third set where you're going the full range of motion, trying to get them all to fail together. I can't seem to get that very well. So we're gonna start here with the top half. I'm gonna set it up kind of out already, just as a bumper position, so I know not to go past that. And I can just focus on my VMO. See how much weight, let's go with there. Okay, I'm still, for hypertrophy, I kind of like to hang out around that 10 to 15, 10 to 12 zone, personally. Getting that big squeeze there. I do find it a little bit better if I turn my feet slightly out. And then just push it. Ooh. I'm just trying to find failure in that specific muscle, which is tough. And it doesn't mean that these aren't working a ton. Doesn't mean my rec fem isn't going crazy too, but it's not what's failing. VMO is what's failing there. And then second set, we're gonna go all the way from the bottom. You want as big a bend as you can possibly get to really stretch your quads out. I see some people even raise up, or you put a bar on this to bring you further back. Both good options. The goal is to raise this up maybe 2/3 the way. Typically, you're gonna be way stronger at this than you are at the top half, so you can adjust the weights accordingly to that. And so that, the failure, it was just from here to here. That top half, right where my rec fem is absolutely on fire right now. Oh, I felt pretty much nothing through my VMO on that one, despite me just working it, so it should be tired. I had barely any action out of it, which shows how important it is for the top half. I do think my lower quads are horrible. So that's the one I have to work on more to try and catch up. So I'm gonna give it a whole extra set and find a way, and hopefully I can fail twice on this VMO, kind of force some extra growth so it can catch up to the rec fem. Quick breather. Okay, here we go, top half. Big squeeze. Yep. I'm just really trying to feel that VMO do the work. If you want to come a little closer, you can really see on my quads that VMO is working. I'm not even really getting that much work out of my upper quads here. Just that VMO is getting that squeeze. Push through. And that's that. Leg extensions done. Time for squats. We're moving on. We just hit extensions. I love to go extensions and then a squat of some kind. My two favorites are these two machines right here. I got the Smith machine, and I transformed this not into a leg press, but a hack squat. This machine reverses, which is cool. But today we're gonna go Smith machine, because I think I did hack squat last time. I just kind of like to alternate back and forth. So we're gonna go Smith machine. How I like to hit my compound exercises, especially for hypertrophy, is have one set fail at heavy weight. This is where I'm trying to roll through the right range of motion. I'm trying to contract and squeeze my the muscle that I'm intending on working, this one being the quads, up, keeping tension the whole time, so I'm not coming quite all the way up. I'm coming up just to about here, so that my quads continue working. But I'm trying to keep it heavy. I'm trying to have a lot of mechanical tension on them. I'm trying to take it right to failure. And then I do a second set where I go quite a bit lighter in the weight. I'm still hitting the same range of motion, but at the bottom or at the most stretched out part of the motion for a Smith machine would be at the bottom here. what I'm trying to do is squeeze and contract my quads first, and then drive up second, and then release as you go back down, squeeze, contract, and drive up. And you cannot do this with the same amount of weight as the first set, as the heavy mechanical tension set. You gotta go maybe half the weight. And so you feel more isolation, you feel more neural connectivity. I'm driving up with that specific muscle that I'm choosing. And I really, really recommend that people try this. This is the lifting light that you hear about. You are contracting the muscle that you intend to work. I like to kind of over exaggerate it a little bit, where I'm at the bottom or at the stretch, I'm doing a full contraction first and then a movement second. So I'm gonna load up some weight here. Last time I hit 185 on this. When I'm tracking weights on this, I just pretend weight-wise that it's the same as a barbell, just for ease of understanding. It's not actually 185, but it's just easier to write it down and remember. So 185 is a plate and a quarter, a 25 on each side. So we're going for mechanical tension. We're trying to get deep. Don't half-ass your squats, okay? I'm not trying to get parallel. I'm trying to get deep, ass to grass, okay? And then coming up maybe 2/3, 3/4 of the way. That way I keep tension on my quads the whole time. They're already a little toast from those extensions, but this is great. This is when you gotta push through. It takes a lot of mental ability. You got this. Okay, so all about that depth, keeping tension. Here we go. And that's right to failure, as close as I felt comfortable going to failure in that one. Where as I'm pressing up, that bar is barely moving. If you're feeling extra spicy, you can do the eccentric on the way down and rack that at the bottom as well. Your choice. That hurt. Oh, and that's ass to grass. If I can do that, you can do that. Especially on a Smith machine. My flexibility is trash. So don't short sell yourself on squats and going halfway down. So that's set number one done, where I'm lifting my heavy set, okay? Now we're gonna move on to our light set. So one set to failure heavy, one set to failure light, okay? Again, the goal in this second set is to flex. It's a pre-contract, as I call it, in the stretch position. So I'm gonna pop down as deep as I can while I still have control here. I'm gonna flex my quads, which you might not be able to even see very well, but I'm flexing, and then I'm gonna drive up. And hopefully I can get 10 out of this. We'll see. But it doesn't matter. If I don't, it doesn't matter. If I get 8, that's great. If I get 6, that's great. If I get 15, that's great. I don't really care that much. That's just how we track progress. The whole point is just go to failure. So I think the goal is probably 10. I feel pretty recovered. Let's go for it. So at the bottom, I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna contract, and then I'm gonna push. Going down, contract, drive. Yeah, and that's the benefit of a Smith machine, is that you can really take that right to failure and then just rack it wherever you are. You don't need a spotter, you don't need someone to bring you back to the top, and that's one of the reasons why I love it is, man, you can really fail. And the thing about these lightweight sets where you're contracting is they are way harder than heavyweight sets. You'd assume that it's way easier to lift heavyweight than it is lightweight. But when you're doing it this way, when you're forcing one muscle to do the work for you, it is grueling. It truly is. I suggest you guys try it. See what you like, see what you don't like, see which exercises you might implement it. There are certain exercises where I love it, like this one, and there are other ones where I hate it. So see what you like and put it in your program. But squats are done. Let's move on. Moving on, I like to do one exercise that's unilateral, so I'm using just one leg at a time. So far in that leg extension, we use them both together. And then that Smith machine, we use them both together. So now I want to separate them. That way I'm building strength individually as well, and hypertrophy. Because I sometimes, or quite often, you'll have one leg that's kind of compensating or doing more work for the other. Oftentimes it'll be whatever your dominant leg is. So for me, I'm right-handed, so I'm left-legged or left quad. If I go to reach for something on top shelf, I'm standing on that leg. That is my plant leg, that is my dominant quad. So typically, people's lefts will be slightly stronger than their rights. And sometimes in a squat, maybe you're doing 60-40. So it's good to do unilateral stuff. That way you kind of train out that discrepancy. So what we're gonna do here is a step up. I'm only doing one set because, one and done sometimes. So you don't have to do 3-4 sets of everything, okay? One set, make it count, pushing all you can, move on. And I'm doing just one set because the lightweight version of this exercise where I'm trying to contract first and then drive, I just hate. So we're not gonna do it. We're just gonna do the heavy. Let's just go over simple form. So as my leg is up, I wanna make sure this is stable. This exercise is all about this top leg, this top quad, and this top glute. This leg back here is not what's supposed to be working. I don't want to see that. That is useless to you, okay? We're training your calf to help you push up, to give you a head start. Stop doing that, okay? What you're gonna do is have your foot up here. We're gonna press forward so that now all my weight is on this leg. This leg is just helping me with balance. And I'm gonna try and press up off this leg by itself. And I am not jumping off that back leg. I'm driving off the top leg. Okay, so try that for yourself. Make sure the top leg is the one that's working. So we're gonna jump into this. I always do the weak leg first, which is my right. Hammer it out, holding 30s. Foot goes up, load up that leg. So I'm loading up my quad and my glute on that side, and then drive. Load up, drive. Oh, So I'm taking that right to failure. Now, one thing I hope that you guys noticed, as I'm pressing up, I am not locking my leg out and bringing my other leg up. This is rest. Why are we resting? As I press up, I'm trying to press maybe 3/4 of the way. I still have all this tension through my quad, and then I'm releasing off of that and through my glute actually. Stop doing step ups where I'm taking my time and resting at the top. It's pointless. Okay, moving on from my right to my left. This should be easier because it's definitely stronger. Still going for around 10 to 12. I'll see how it goes. Keeping tension, keeping pressing through that top leg. Weights forward, drive. Ooh. Lost my balance there. Oh, that was good. I faded really fast. You might saw me touch my foot up there. That was so I didn't eat it. And sometimes you just gotta do that. But that was great. Step ups are done. One and done, especially with exercises you don't like lunges maybe, like step ups, like Bulgarians. Quads are feeling good, pumped up. Let's get maybe one more exercise and then we'll move on to a quick calf, another awful point for me. All right, so we're gonna do adduction. Now you're adding something into your body. So this is our kind of groin muscles here. Adductor magnus is the big one right here, and it kind of ties in multiple spots all the way down. And then we have the gracilis, which is the long way. That doesn't do quite as much work, but the adductor magnus sitting on top here is gonna do the majority. We're gonna do 2 sets. The first set is that heavy set. I'm just trying to move through, hold that contraction, release out into the stretch. Super easy exercise to do. And then we're gonna hit a light one where we're hitting that pre-contraction. So let's do the heavy first. It is important when you're setting this up that I try to get as far out as I can, okay? So right now, I gotta really push the limits. You hear it click in there. I'm already in a stretch. So I need to find this stretch position first, then I'm gonna drive through using that adductor magnus, hold that contraction, and release. Oh. Oh. Don't rush this. Don't swing this in and out fast. It's just in, hold, squeeze, release. And because I'm just doing one heavy set, I don't need to save any energy here. I can take it right to failure. One thing that I do really want to go over is what is failure on a lot of these machines, or a lot of these exercises, I mean, but especially on machines, because your risk of injury is so low that I can really take that to absolute failure. What I mean by that in terms of this adductor machine is I'm bringing it all the way in. That's my range of motion, and all the way out on that big stretch. But as you saw on that set, I brought it in on my 9th, 10th rep where, I didn't quite get all the way. That could be considered a point of failure. I wasn't able to complete the exercise to a full range of motion. On a machine like this, or a lot of machines in the gym where you're so safe and your injury risk is so low, keep that going. So maybe I'm able to get it 80% in, then 60% in, 50% in, 25% in, 10%, and then I'm done. And that is really taking it beyond into that extra subset of failure. But that's really where the most growth is, okay? So any exercise that you feel comfortable doing that, you should be doing that, especially if it's machines. These things are designed amazingly where you're probably not gonna get hurt. There's nothing that can happen to me on this machine that's really gonna put me into injury. So I can take it all the way, really fail hard on one set, and then move on. Okay, so we're gonna hit our light set next. I'm not actually sure how much weight I need. So because of that, I'm going to do half of what I did for my heavy. On a lot of exercises, half is the right amount on that jump. On some, it's more like 60%. Very few, it's less than 50%. But if you're unsure, just start by halving the weight. So if I'm chest pressing 90s, I'd pop down to 45s and try that contraction, you know, and then you'll learn it for yourself and keep your notes, and that way you can make adjustments and change it for your next workout. So set 2, my goal here is once I'm stretched out, this big stretch position here under tension, I'm going to try to contract my adductors, okay? If you don't have control of that, it will come with time. Just keep practicing, keep thinking about it in your brain, keep thinking about contracting through those muscles. I'm a hockey player, grew up playing hockey, so I know how to contract my inner thighs pretty well. So I'm squeezing them now, and I'm bringing them in. And then I'm gonna release that out, squeeze, bring that in. And you just feel such a bigger contraction when you do that. I may have picked a weight that was slightly too light for myself, but again, it's just about going to failure. The number of reps doesn't matter too much, so I'd love to find a weight where I fail around 10 or 12. But if I find a weight where I fail around 15, 17, 18, 19, 20, that's fine too. And as you can see on those last couple, I'm barely moving it. I'm way past failure. That is where you're gonna get the best growth. It's calf o'clock, my mortal nemesis. We're gonna go back to the Smith machine and see if I can turn these toothpicks into medium-sized toothpicks. Last exercise, it's calves. We're gonna go Smith machine calves. I do this one a lot because of the stability on this. I don't have to worry about the balance. If I'm doing a barbell, trying to balance that, we can just focus here with the Smith machine on our target muscle, that is calves. We had discussed earlier with the step ups about how I only do the heavier set on the step ups. I don't do the lighter set. I don't do the pre-contraction set. And when it comes to calves, I discovered for myself that it's the opposite of that. So I don't do my heavy sets because other muscles take over within my foot, or I feel my hamstrings actually helping me a lot. So I only do my lighter sets on this, where I'm taking my calf into a big stretch. I'm trying to pre-contract my calf and drive through my toes to bring that up. Okay, so let's get into the set. I'll walk you through it again. Loading up. Nice big stretch there. I'm gonna pre-contract and drive toes. That's my top position there. I'm not doing this. I'm keeping it in that range of motion that I feel just my gas truck working. Big stretch, contract, drive. Stretch, contract, drive. I just feel a ton of calves, where before, when I did not do this, I honestly would not feel that much calves. And that's probably why they're so far behind and maybe so small. Obviously genetics plays a role, but I also have not been, through my career of lifting, doing a very good job of hitting these. So I can only blame myself. Contract, move. Contract, move. Contract, move. I just feel so much more calf when I hit it lighter weight pre-contract than I do when I hit it heavier, higher tension. Because I can do calf raises with 3 plates on each side. I'm not sure my calves are the ones doing the work for half of those reps. So it feels pointless to me. When I also feel more connectivity, well, that makes me a better runner, makes me a better athlete. So why wouldn't I want that? I'm gonna do 2 sets here. That one was to failure. I already feel like they're pretty smoked, but I am gonna do another set, take it right to failure, and then we can get out of here. And then it's all about rest, recovery, and nutrition. Loading up on protein, loading up on carbs, lots of water, creatine, and growth. Ooh. 2 sets to failure. I don't think I can take much more of that. We are done with today's workout, the leg day. Just a quick recap. Strength for hamstrings and glutes, our posterior chain strength. We hit those floating deadlifts. We moved on to hypertrophy and connectivity for quads. That was leg extensions, Smith machine, step ups. We hit an adductor on the Adductor Machine, and always finish with calves. If you struggle to finish with calves or hate finishing calves, do them first. Stop doing them last, do them first. I hope you learned a few things. If you have some questions, leave me a comment below or hit me up. Or if you want to come by, we're in the gym in San Diego called Lionstrong Athletics. Give us a call, come on in, hang out, and have a great day.